Welcome to the Mystic Psychology Podcast. I am really happy that you are here in the space where your spirit meets your everyday life and your energy becomes your guide. I'm Charlotte and I'm here to walk beside you as you reconnect with your truth, your intuition, and the deeper layers of who you truly are. Welcome to the Mystic Psychology Podcast. I am so happy you're here. And if you don't know me and you're here for the first time, I'm Charlotte. I'm the founder of the Mystic Psychology Academy, which supports people finding their unique energetic gifts or psychic capabilities, working with energy in a very unique and authentic way. So that's what I do. And what I've noticed while supporting my participants and clients actually working with their gifts, I've noticed there's one thing that is very, very challenging and that keeps a lot of people from tapping into their gifts. And that is the idea of being bad, doing something wrong, the shadows, the dark side, low frequency, whatever you may call it. It's all about the same topic. It's about doing something wrong, being maybe punished for it, being going to, under parentheses, hell for it. We have been conditioned in so many ways that there is a good person and a bad person. Now, in this episode, I want to share with you all about what does it mean to be good or bad, and especially in this part of the time of the year where Christmas is coming, where we're tapping into the darkest part of the year and the time where emotions come up in family, when we're back with our family, and in all the stress and chaos in this month that is arising. So, what you can do in order to actually deal with all these emotions, what is low frequency actually, and how we can tap into, under parentheses, high frequency, and also what does it mean to actually live authentically in your energy. So I was a typical good girl, and I was always scared of tapping into my dark side, my shadow side, my uncomfortable emotions like anger, sadness, frustration. I would always be the girl who'd be like yes to everything. And somebody once said to me, well, you're kind of holy, like you have this holy vibe. And it was not because I was holy, but because I was always nice and I was always good and I was always smiling. And what that caused was actually that I cut off one part of myself, because not only one part, many parts of myself, because ultimately we can say that one half of us is the good girl, and on the other side, there's the bad girl. And both of these girls or boys, if you are inside of us. So we have these two parts inside of us. And what most people do is they reject one of these parts, which is most likely the bad girl or boy, the shadowy one, the one with the, under parentheses, negative emotions, the one that is misbehaving or that is not fitting into the system or into the place they're currently at. So if you're someone like me, you start adapting. And it's normal because I adapted because I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be heard in my most perfect way. And I wanted people to perceive me as this wonderful person, like we all do. But actually, we start wearing these masks. We're starting wearing these masks of who we think we are supposed to be while being authentic, while we want to actually be loved for authentic self, but we're not doing it. And this is already caused in the childhood, because when you're a little child, it's about your survival. You only have one choice. You can choose between staying authentic or being loved by your parents and adapt, or your surrounding. So you start adapting and adapting and adapting, and your authentic self gets covered in all these masks of adaptation. And it happens to all of us because it's our survival. So it's not your fault or my fault. It's just how the system works in order for us to survive. The problem is, or the challenge is, when we grow up, we surpass this, but we still believe in our minds what we have learned as a child. And that is why we still keep adapting in the same way, believing in the same way, instead of returning to authenticity. Because our mind tells us, well, if you do that, you will die. And that's why we get scared. And that's why we have produced fear in a lot of situations, because fear actually just tells us you're stepping out of this conditioning, you're stepping out of this adaptation you learned in your childhood, and you're going to die now. But it's not true. So these are our shadow parts. Our shadow parts are those we subconsciously put away. We put them into a little box and we kind of push them away in order to just live a happy and loved life. But there's something inside you probably calling, saying, I'm not happy, or I am not fully who I'm supposed to be, or I'm not tapping into my potential. And that is, when I look at my clients and participants, it's when they don't acknowledge their shadow, their low frequencies, their dark side. Call it whatever you want, but it's the anger, it's the sadness, it's the frustration, it's the thoughts where you're like, oh, I could kill this person, or I could be like, these like really dark thoughts, like, I don't want this, I don't want that, I think this is horrible, whatever it is that your dark thoughts are, but they're a part of you. And what most people do is they push them aside. They don't want to know anything about it. Now, that keeps you from tapping into your full potential, into your full authenticity, into your full energy, into life, actually, into liveliness, because being human means to live all of the emotions. And especially in this time of the year where it's about, we're coming into this dark time of the year where we are, at least in our part of the hemisphere, the light is getting less, but the darkness during the day is getting more. And it's a time to go inwards. It's the time to actually connect to yourself and to really look what is inside you. Now, Christmas became a whole different thing, because actually this was one part of Christmas, what it's actually about, coming into that, back into the connection, coming back into that love, coming back into who you really are, tapping into all your emotions, but reflecting on them and really connecting. And actually society is bringing us out more, even more outwards, with shopping for gifts and stress and parties and all these kind of things. So we're actually even more disconnected than connected, what it's actually about. And what I hear from my participants so many times is that, ooh, I don't want to be low frequency. I don't want to be bad. I don't want to go to, under parentheses, hell. I don't want to create karma. I don't want to, there's so many different ways of saying it. But what they're really saying is, I don't want to go to that dark side of my side, and I don't want to live it, and I don't want to acknowledge it. Now, let's talk about frequency. So imagine there's two children, and I always bring that example. There's two children. One child is angry and is upset and is frustrated and is maybe even crying or screaming. And then there's another child, which is happy and fulfilled and is, just this pure bliss. And do you think that one child is worth less than the other one? And most people say, no, they're both worthy. They're both children. And then my second question is, how would you deal with that child that is angry and that is frustrated and has all these kind of experiences in that moment? What would you do? And most people would say, well, I'm going there, I'm hugging it, I'm giving it love, I'm giving it attention, I'm giving it, care. And most of the time, then the child calms down. And the other way around, if you ignore it, what would happen then? And most children that are being ignored when they're angry or frustrated or any other, what we call negative emotions or shadows or low frequency vibes, is they would even get more loud, more upset. They would start being like throwing things on the floor or doing things to get even more attention. Now, these two children live inside of you, and these two children both need attention, but none of them, these children, is worth more or less. So think about it. Why are you neglecting that side of yourself? Why are you neglecting that inner child of yourself? And why are you not giving it love and compassion? So this kind of brings me to that topic of frequency, because many people say about frequencies, and frequencies is nothing else but vibrations, energetic vibrations, and everything carries an energetic vibration. Every emotion carries an energetic vibration. Every material thing, every car, every table, every tree, everything that exists, every human being has a vibration, a frequency that is unique to that particular thing. And there's no frequency that is repeating. There's not such a thing. So every single existence in this universe has its own frequency and vibration. So many people, especially in the spiritual world or when they start working with energy, they would say, but I don't want to be low frequency. Now, what is considered low frequency is things like anger, frustration, sadness. So things we would consider negative emotions. And the second, what is called high frequencies in a lot of spiritual practices or neo-spiritual views, it would be considered like love and happiness and joy. So all the, under parentheses, positive emotions. Now, the problem is that in this world of neo-spirituality, in this, what happens is that a lot of people try to surpass those low frequencies. But what it really takes is not surpassing them, but being compassionate and love with them. And that is what brings you actually into a high frequency. That is when you really start accepting yourself, being compassionate with yourself. That is self-love. It's self-acceptance. And not only with yourself, but also with other people. Being compassionate with their mistakes, being compassionate with their emotions, being compassionate with what they have learned and are actually living through in life. And I'm not talking about accepting everything and being like the punch bag for people, but actually to be just feeling, I understand this person is going through a tough time. This person is angry. Maybe they need an ear to listen to, or maybe they need someone to tell them the truth or guidance or whatever they need. And I'm not asking you to go into helper syndrome and run after everyone. Come on, I'm helping you. I'm helping you. No, it's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying there is room for everything. And there's this place of non-judgment and compassion that will bring you into a higher frequency. And this is also what it's about in this time of the year. about compassion, about looking into the darkness with compassion, with love. And I want to tell you a story. It's not a story, it's an experience I made just recently. I was very triggered by a person. And I knew it had nothing to do with this person because it never has to do with this person. It's something inside me. And I called my therapist and I said, listen, I just need you to hold space for me in order to go deeper in that. And what turned out was I went back into this old wound of mine of my father dying when I was very young, and this huge hole inside me that felt so sad of losing him and not being with him. And before, I always used to try to heal or get rid of that wound, or, yeah, just try to suppress it, whatever it took to kind of, push it away. And I realized in that session that it's not about healing that wound. It's not about getting rid of it or losing it or pushing it away. It's about being compassionate with me having that wound and just be saying, yes, it's okay. I have that wound. I'm aware of it and it's okay. I am not perfect. I have my wounds of the past, and these are just part of me. And that makes me to who I am today. They're all part of me. And there was this deep feeling of peace and compassion and love towards me with everything that I've experienced of my past. It was such deep peace. It was such a deep compassion for myself. And it's such a release. So, what it's really about is that being compassionate brings you in that high frequency with yourself, but with other people, and without losing yourself. You can say no. Being compassionate doesn't mean that you can't say no to people. And that brings you into that bliss and joy and into that peace inside you, because you recognize that everything is allowed to be: your anger, your sadness, your frustration, your upsetness, your, not knowing what to do in life, whatever it is, it's all part of you. And it's all part of every single person on this planet because we're human. So the journey to love, the journey to compassion, is the journey into high frequency, because ultimately that is the highest frequency. But it means to accept what there is, the shadows, the light. That is life. So, in this season of Christmas, I want to show you or give you an inspiration of when you're sitting with your family, when you're sitting with your friends, when you're at the company Christmas party and people start upsetting you, be compassionate with yourself that you're upset, maybe. Be compassionate with others that they're upset. Be compassionate with your stress, with all that chaos in this month that is coming along, finishing the year. Be compassionate with all the things you wanted to achieve this year, but you didn't. But be also compassionate with all the things that you achieved. So, and for others as well. And look through the lens of that. How would love look at your anger? How would love look at that family member? How would love look at that situation? And I want to give you some ideas how you can also come into that open heart, and how you can raise your frequency, let's say, through your shadows. So, step number one, you can go to my episode number 4 podcast, where I have a guided meditation that guides you through the way to actually do shadow work. Second, be present And present means come back to your breath. Take a minute to just calm down and feel your body. Be mindful. Go into mindfulness practices. That can be a full body scan. And I have one also in my episodes. If you go under practices in YouTube or also on Spotify. If you can do a short, put your hands somewhere on the body where you need it and let energy flow through you. Count to 10 or backwards from 10, 10, 9, 8, 7 in a very slow way and breathe. So these are all mindfulness practices. Be present. Start to become present, even if it's just for 1 minute, even if it's just for 2 minutes. Third one, dance. Move your body. Let your body guide you through movements. You don't have to dance in a beautiful way, and every way is beautiful anyway. It's about, letting your body show you what your body needs, what kind of movement your body needs. Number 4, you can listen to uplifting music. So maybe you have a music list, or there's also these frequency music you can listen to. Number 5, journal your thoughts and get it out of your system. Maybe you even want to burn it after if you feel like, there's something to let go. But allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to put down your emotions, especially in this time of the year, because I know it can be very, very triggering. So these all will support you to raise your frequency, to let energy move through your system in a more easy way, to become more authentic to yourself, to connect inwards instead of outwards. And it will help you and support you to feel more ease in life, because the resistance in you will decrease. So that being said, thank you for being here. And if you have questions, if you want to continue this journey, if you want to dive deep, then write me. If there's topics that you want to be covered, then write me, and through Instagram or through my website. And I see you, I feel you, and I hear you, because ultimately we're all connected. I wish you a beautiful start into the Christmas season and all the best. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for being here, for your time, for listening, and showing up for your own personal path. If something touched you today, share it with someone who needs to hear it too. And make sure to subscribe and get my weekly newsletter. You can always go deeper at mystic-psychology.com or find me on Instagram. I'd really love to connect to you in person, read your comments and messages. So until next time, stay close to your soul and trust what you feel, follow your intuition, and I can't wait to connect with you again.